Edinburgh is reflecting on a hugely successful Armed Forces Day. The Scottish capital was the national focus for the event. Tens of thousands of people turned out to show their support to the UK's military. Tim Cooper reports on a weekend of celebration, commemoration and fun.
Bikers from the Royal British Legion, celebrating 90 years of the organisation, had the honour of being first down the Royal Mile, launching a parade of over 2,500. Meanwhile, just below Edinburgh Castle, serving troops, veterans and cadets waited for their chance to march in the centrepiece event of Edinburgh's Armed Forces Day. The night before, the Red Arrows had flown in full formation over the city for the first time in 23 years, and thousands of people had spent time on Type 23 frigate HMS Portland at Leith Docks. And the senior service led the way in the march, the band of the Royal Marines leading sailors, soldiers and airmen on the route to Holyrood Park.
I think it's excellent. I knew they would have a good gathering, a good crowd.
So we just came to watch, just show our support and everything like that. Definitely, it's an amazing atmosphere. There's so many people. Unbelievable.
I've very enjoyed the parade. It's like I've had a brilliant time.
What have you liked about it?
Well, I liked about the style and all the people that are in it and all the soldiers.
At the bottom of the Royal Mile, the most senior veterans took their turn in the spotlight. A Lancaster bomber and 2 Spitfires flying over, helping everyone remember the sacrifices made for our country by the rapidly passing generations. Outside the Scottish Parliament, His Royal Highness Prince Charles, known in Scotland as the Duke of Rothesay, took the salute. At Holyrood Park, a Drumhead Service channelled the emotion of the day into quiet thought and contemplation. Prime Minister David Cameron, Defence Secretary Liam Fox and First Minister Alex Salmond were in the congregation, alongside the Chief of the Defence Staff.
I always find it particularly emotional to see veterans march past, and then in the same parade there's cadets aged sort of 13, 14, and I think that linkage that transcends all other considerations between those who have served and those who hopefully will and those who are in the armed forces at the moment is very evident in Scotland. I'm sure it is elsewhere, but it seems particularly strong here.
Well, I think Edinburgh has really done the armed forces proud today. From the marching down the Royal Mile to the service we've just had here, to the tremendous size of the crowd. I looked round from the front row and saw this multitude behind us, which we hadn't been able to see before that. So it's been a really great event.
An estimated 100,000 people enjoyed learning more about the forces, and despite a typically Scottish downpour, no one's spirits were dampened. Next year, Plymouth will host the National Armed Forces Day celebrations. Scotland and Edinburgh can be proud that the Devon city will have a hard act to follow. Tim Cooper, Forces News, Edinburgh.
Well, as you saw in that report, Scotland's First Minister Alex Salmond was at the centre of Armed Forces Day events. He leads a party which says it wants the armed forces to be at the heart of Scottish life, with no further base closures and troops from Germany relocated north of the border. He spoke to Tim Cooper.
First Minister, it's been a fantastic day for Scotland today.
Yeah, 35,000 folk, not a single arrest, everybody enjoying themselves and acknowledging the contribution service of our armed forces. So it's a great day for the armed forces, for their families, and a great day for Edinburgh and Scotland.
And it backs the view, doesn't it, of the SNP view that you want a lot of the armed forces to retain in Scotland, particularly the air bases.
That's right. I mean, I'm not really going to go into the various arguments to understand. I think we've got opportunity to lobby us from the day, but let's just acknowledge the contribution that our service people make. And the services are very important to Scotland, and Scotland is very important to the services. So we're delighted to have the opportunity to recognise the service and the sacrifice, and to do it in a way which is really a celebration of that contribution.
How much a part of Scottish life are the armed forces?
Oh, huge. I mean, Scotland's always contributed a disproportionate number of service people, so it's very much in the blood and in the history of Scotland. I mean, one thing I have announced today, which is quite interesting, we've had the military covenant idea for the last 4 years in Scotland. We've tried to make sure we've introduced practical measures to help service people and their families, like, for example, the priority treatment of the National Health Service. Just this April, the bus pass for injured veterans And there was one thing that was introduced in the white paper last month that we couldn't replicate, and that was the help with tuition fees, because nobody in Scotland pays tuition fees. And we've been thinking about that, and what we decided to do, this is for service people who die, who fall in conflict and in service, their children, their sons, their daughters. So what we decided to do is introduce a bursary to help with the living costs in education. And we know, of course, that absolutely nothing can replace the loss of a mother or father. Well, that's quite clear. But if society can give a contribution so that the sons and daughters of people in that position do well, we want them to do well. So we're introducing a bursary to help with the living costs. So another practical measure to acknowledge the contribution of our service people and the debt that we owe as a society, some small additional repayment to that debt.